Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now the new update is here, and with the new update comes the Red Guardian buff, and there's absolutely no secret I have liked the character since he was released. Unfortunately, he was just quite impractical, and also quite funnily enough, he was one of the last 6 stars I pulled because I could just not pull him forever. But I did have a maxed out 5-star relatively early on. Unfortunately, I didn't ever do much with him because it was extremely hard to play him even at a max sig, let alone if you didn't have him at a max sig. And at the beginning here, I'm going to demonstrate exactly why he was so hard to play. So we're going to go up against Winter Soldier, and obviously this fight in itself is really handicapped for Red Guardian because a big part of his kit is the slow on his level 1, which is additional debuff in order to increase your damage, and also in order to increase your combat power rate, because whilst slow is active on the opponent, Red Guardian has, I believe, 25% increased combat power rate, making him, significantly quicker to get special attacks. But my Red Guardian 660, rank 3 6-star in this showcase video. That will quite possibly change soon. But for now, you guys are going to see the exact problem with the Red Guardian. So you drop your level 2, and you can get in your heavy attack straight after the level 2 thanks to the stun. But as soon as you make a single mistake, that trauma is going to be gone. Initially, this trauma debuff, I believe, is about 60% strong. So there, I made a mistake. I wanted to see if I'm going to be quick enough to drop a heavy after the first medium. That was not the case. Fair enough. But this is not going to serve as our damage showcase anyhow. We are going to fast forward when we go up to the next level 2. Here, again, the heavy attack reach is not quite big either way. In some of the matches, that definitely was a problem in itself. Now I got the trauma back up, and I'm dealing some, more decent damage. But we're still going to lose this one as well, because as soon as the AI doesn't play into you perfectly, or you make any mistake, we can see that trauma just fall away pretty much immediately. Now, at the max sig, it is slightly better. Here you can see that heavy attack is just a tiny bit too short, and we're done. And we would have been able to stack up 2 of these, but we weren't. And now we're back still with 1 trauma. Slow is obviously out of the commission for this fight. And it's a rough fight. I'm not going to show you the rest of it, but that's kind of the problem there with it. So we're going to move on till the end of it. This actually lasted quite a while. It took me like 4 minutes something. And now, this is going to be a more realistic fight for Red Guardian, because no class disadvantage. I do have access to slow. And that already changes a lot. Previous Winter Soldier fight, as funnily as it sounds, was like borderline, unplayable or very hard to play. You needed pretty much perfect anything, no mistakes, perfect AI, everything. Now against CMM, not that bad. And this is going to be pre-buff Red Guardian pretty much doing as well as he can. Because we got our slow app. Now we're going to get to our level 2 again. With this, we have increased combat power rate. We obviously get more damage on our heavy attacks for each debuff that we have on the opponent. And now we can just basically spam our heavy attacks and try to maintain that trauma until we stack up another. And then, we should be able to get even better damage. It is worth pointing out, previously trauma debuffs were about 60% potency. And after the buff, the trauma debuff is 100 or 110% potency, but you only can get 1. So in theory, in longer fights, there shouldn't be. Well, we're going to see the damage comparison in longer fights. But the buff, before they changed it, before they tuned back Red Guardian buff, would have been even more oppressive as it already is going to be. So here I managed to stack up 3 trauma debuffs. We do have the slow, and would she had survived long enough, obviously I would have made my way to level 3 and destroyed her. But this fight effectively has gone as well as it could. We didn't drop a single debuff. We, didn't mess up a single time. We have our max damage output here, and this is what we got. So now, this is going to be the updated version. Obviously, plenty of things changed, as well as got taken away. But the most important thing, ultimately, I already have videos breaking this buff down completely. But the most important thing is the fact that his debuffs last longer now, especially his trauma debuff. So you do not have to pray to the gods that AI is going to play perfectly into whatever you want to do. And you're going to be able to finish this fight out. So this is my very first fight. Again, this is not going to be the fight that we use for damage comparison purposes, but this is my very, very first fight after the buff, and it was still kind of weird having to get used to the fact that you don't always have to spam heavy attack every single opportunity that you get, or else. So here we can see that the trauma is lasting forever, comparatively speaking, and obviously at the single stack it is more potent. Now the downside is, obviously we still get no slow because class disadvantage, so we're going to be going for level 3 here, and we cannot stack these traumas anymore. But it is still much easier to do this fight, and it actually will start to look decent. Now I do mess up here, just slight jitters, but we're going to have pretty much again perfectly fine CMM fight, which is going to serve as a comparison. Previously, with perfect AI, in an ideal fight, we did it in 1 minute and 45 seconds. That was about as well as he could do, and this is something that I would consider already for a 6-star rank 3 relatively long fight. So you can see it is immediately much easier to play the champion, and I don't need to worry about as much. Again, the only kind of annoying part is that I genuinely feel like it's missing is the fact that you cannot stack your traumas anymore. But even without that, you are doing plenty of damage, and that is how we're going to finish this out. Again, I'm going to go for level 1. Sorry, level 2. Oh, my brain's still somewhere away. Right, and that Winter Soldier is going down at a relatively decent pace. But the biggest problem in this fight is not only the class disadvantage, it's the missing debuff, because having more debuffs obviously helps you get more damage. And still putting in solid work. And now we're going to get to the more important bit, which is that CMM fight. Again, keep in mind, previously, in an ideal circumstances, this was 1 minute 45. And we're going to see how we fare up now. And the idea is, fairly straightforward, fairly the same as it was before. Get the slow up, get the trauma up, maintain them, and just spam as many heavy attacks as you can. But you have much more easy time doing so, because again, you don't have to spam that heavy attack every single time. But well, you can, or you lose all your damage. So now we get to our level 2, which is sweet. Can drop a couple of heavies still, and at this point the CMM there is at 68%. Now I can easily build up to my level 3 should I choose to do so. And just again keep getting in as many heavy attacks as we can for that extra crit rate, extra crit damage, extra attack, and just enjoy the numbers. As we can see there, there's like 12k there on heavy attack, plus obviously extra 12k coming from the red numbers from trauma. That I got quite lucky, I'll admit to that. But here we have at least the 3 debuffs on, obviously the parry stun as well. And now I'm going for level 2, which is pretty much going to finish it off. That was like a fairly massive level 2 there immediately. This is 1 minute 19, so this is already noticeably faster. But again, let's face it, Red Guardian was not as made as he could have been for the longer form content. He was, however, made slightly faster for shorter form content, because that single stack of trauma will give you 100% damage increase over previously. It was 60, and in the first iteration of the buff, 80. So here we're going to see that in shorter version of the fights, like, comparatively speaking, this is approximately Battlegrounds length fight if you're fighting rank similar champions. I just basically went for my level 2, and the fight is over. That's 31 seconds for a 6-star rank 3 to destroy this. Again, for a 6-star rank 3, this would be comparative to a Battlegrounds fight. And a slightly bigger health pool, will be slightly slower. I'm gonna mess up here at the end a tiny bit, but it's still going to be very, very fast as well. And that is quite promising. That does show, quite a decent potential use. Now, the big questions are going to be how well he matches up with the metas, of course, and whether he will be kind of like flexible and versatile enough to be a popular champion. Because one thing is clear, he will have the damage now to be good. The key question is going to be, again, whether he's going to be good enough. And here is the mistake that I made. Accidentally threw my level 1. I thought he's dashing in at me, but whatever. So he clearly could have been about 5 to 8 seconds faster in this fight. But still did it in 47 seconds, which is not half bad. Need I tell you. Anyways, and this is just like as I finish my closing thoughts, a bit of gameplay with the Mr. Fantastic Sinner pre-fight active, because obviously if you get extra debuffs on the opponent, he will get extra damage as well. And this also counts for something like Battlegrounds metas. Even like right now, should you get the power stings on opponent, that will further fuel your damage as well. So yeah, where was I? The big deciding factor of Red Guardian is definitely going to be how many good or bad matchups he ends up having, and how useful and compatible he is with the metas and so on and so forth. Because at the moment, damage-wise, he's definitely not bad. He is, for a science character, I think on the upper side damage-wise, because science are not necessarily known for a massive damage, and well, let's just say what it is. His damage is quite good. So I do actually have somewhat decent expectations of this buff. I hope it does well. I hope we see Red Guardian become like a mainstay Battlegrounds or Alliance War champion in the game, and I would be very, very happy with that. Let me know what you guys think about Red Guardian pre and post buff, and whether are you planning to rank him up. But I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about